So what does it really truly mean to, put down roots somewhere new, to go beyond just living there and become part of the place? Today, we're going to dig into that, focusing on one specific path, getting Portuguese citizenship through naturalization based on residency. We've been looking through some really detailed source material on this, mapping out the common ways people do this, the rules involved. And our mission today really is to cut through all that complexity, pull out the most important bits, and give you a clearer picture of how this pathway works.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because for so many people who don't have, say, Portuguese parents or grandparents, this residency route, it's basically the main way in, which makes understanding it super relevant for, well, loads of people thinking about moving to Portugal long term.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning then.
Yeah.
The absolute basics. If someone's aiming for this, what are the fundamental requirements they absolutely have to meet? What's the starting point?
Right. So for citizenship through naturalization, there are basically 4 key things. Pillar number 1. You need to have been legally resident in Portugal for at least 5 years. That's the minimum time. Second, you need sufficient knowledge of Portuguese. They specify the A2 level.
A2 level, right. That feels important for actually integrating, doesn't it? Not just a paperwork thing.
Exactly. It's about being able to handle daily life, chat with neighbors, understand basic announcements. It helps you feel, properly part of the community. Third, you need a clean criminal record. Specifically, no convictions for crimes that carry a sentence of 3 years or more in Portugal. And they're very clear this excludes any connection to terrorism or violent crime. And finally, the 4th thing is showing you have the means to support yourself. Proof of subsistence, they call it, basically showing you won't need to rely on state support.
Makes sense. That A2 language part really underlines the integration aspect. Okay, so focusing on that 5-year residency, what kind of stay actually counts? Because it can't just be any time spent in the country, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely not. And the sources are quite specific. It has to be legal residency, proven by certain types of residence permits. So this covers your standard run-of-the-mill residence permits, but also things like the Golden Visa.
Oh, yeah, the investor one.
And the D7, which people often call the passive income visa.
Right.
Then there's the D2 for entrepreneurs setting up businesses, the D3 for highly skilled professionals, even the D4 student visa counts. But, and this is important, only after you graduate does that time start really contributing towards the citizenship clock properly. And more recently, the D8, the digital nomad visa, that counts too. Oh, and also temporary stay visas if they've been successfully converted into a formal residence permit.
Okay, that clarifies the what counts. Now, you mentioned the clock. And our sources pointed to something really significant here, a recent update from 2024 that changes how you calculate that 5 years. What happened there? Sounds like a pretty big deal.
Oh, it's a huge deal. Yeah, March 2024, a legislative change came in. And basically, the 5-year residency clock now starts ticking from the day you submit your initial application for a residence permit.
Wow, not from when it's finally approved.
Exactly, not from the issue date.
Yeah.
And if you think about the bigger picture, given the, well, sometimes significant delays in actually getting permits processed over the last few years, this is a massive benefit. It means that waiting time, that administrative lag, doesn't penalize you anymore in terms of starting your citizenship countdown. It sort of acknowledges your commitment right from the get-go, from when you formally apply.
That must be a massive weight off people's shoulders, I imagine. Okay, so let's say you meet the criteria, you understand the residency types, you know how the new clock works. What about the practical stuff, the actual paperwork, the process? How do you go about it?
Right, the nuts and bolts. So documentation first. You'll definitely need your current valid residence permit or solid proof of your legal status in Portugal. Then, crucially, that Portuguese language certificate, the CPEL A2, is the standard one people get.
Civil A2, got it.
Yep. You also need criminal record checks, one from Portugal itself and one from your home country. And sometimes, actually, from any other country where you might have lived for more than a year once you were over 16.
Okay, so potentially multiple checks needed there.
Potentially, yeah. Then you need proof you can support yourself. Tax returns usually work, or an employment contract, proof of where you live in Portugal, like a rental agreement or property deed, and of course the filled out application form. So once you've got all that documentation gathered...
It sounds like quite a bit of gathering.
It can be, yeah. Need some organization. So the process itself is fairly straightforward, step by step. First, obviously, double check you've hit that 5-year legal residency mark and you've passed your A2 language test. Then, meticulously gather and, where necessary, authenticate all those documents we just listed. Make sure everything's correct and up to date. You submit the whole package at a civil registry office, a Conservatoria de Registro Civil, and you pay the application fee, which is currently €250. After that, oh, it's the waiting game. Processing times typically runs somewhere between 18 and 24 months.
18 to 24 months. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Patience is key then.
Definitely. Once it's approved, you get your official citizenship certificate. And that's the document that lets you then apply for your Portuguese ID card, the cartão de cidadão, and your Portuguese passport.
That waiting period does sound like a real test. Now, beyond those main steps, the source has also flagged up a few sort of finer points, nuances that are easy to miss but really important. What are some of those?
Yeah, there are a few critical things to keep in mind. Number one, and this is vital, you absolutely have to maintain your legal residency status throughout the entire application process.
So while you're waiting those 18, 24 months.
Exactly. If your residence permit expires and you haven't renewed it, that could sink the whole application. So staying legal is paramount. On a slightly brighter note, people often worry about travel. Short trips outside Portugal holidays, business trips generally don't interrupt the 5-year count, which is good news.
That's a relief.
Another interesting point is continuity. The 5 years don't strictly have to be one solid, unbroken block. You can accumulate the time non-continuously. Maybe you lived there for 3 years, left for a bit, came back for 2, as long as it all adds up to 5 years within a total time frame of 15 years.
Oh, that offers some flexibility.
It does. And one last specific one, mainly for former students. Time spent in Portugal on a student visa, that D4 we mentioned. For the first 5 years you hold that visa, the time only counts at a 50% rate towards your citizenship residency requirement. So 2 years on a student visa might only count as 1 year towards the 5 needed for citizenship, for instance. Something to be aware of if you came that route.
Right, that 50% rule for students is a key detail.
Yeah.
Okay, so the non-continuous part is quite accommodating, actually. It feels like there's a certain understanding of people's lives maybe not following a perfectly straight line. So we really laid out the map here, the legal steps for getting Portuguese citizenship through residency. What's the big takeaway then? It seems like it's a clear process, definitely has rules, but also, especially with that 2024 update, some helpful aspects too.
Absolutely. It's a defined path, but this brings up a really important point that the source material also touches on, maybe indirectly. Getting the legal status, the citizenship, that's one thing. It's the framework. But true integration, truly feeling like you belong, involves so much more, doesn't it? It's about understanding the day-to-day life, what things cost, what salaries are like, finding those amazing little villages the sources mention. It's the whole picture. Getting the paperwork sorted is essential, of course, but becoming part of the community, understanding the culture.
Yeah.
That's the deeper journey, you could say.
That's a great way to put it. So as you, the listener, think about maybe starting this journey towards Portuguese citizenship, it's worth considering not just the documents and the timelines we've talked about, but also what does it really mean for you to weave yourself into the fabric of Portugal?
Yeah.
Beyond the legal stuff, beyond the residency card, what parts of Portuguese life would you most want to connect with to really truly feel like you could call it home?